Welcome to Lead with AC episode 6. Today we're starting a brand new series called COVID Lessons. This series is all about the lessons that I've learned because of COVID. And to make this series better, I would love for you to drop in the comments what you've learned because of COVID. My hope and desire is to be able to close this series with your thoughts about what you've learned by filming a video with me sharing your thoughts. Even though this will be lessons that I learned due to COVID, I truly believe that this series will add value to your life. Because these are some really good leadership lessons that have the potential to alter our futures forever. So I'm looking to add value to you. I'm going to pour my heart out to you during this series so that I could help encourage you forward on your journey. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would love for you to do so. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. And I would also love for you to invite a friend to join you on our journey of growth together. My vision is to influence world changers. My mission is to inspire you to become a better you. Why? Because when you get better, the world gets better. And because I believe that you are a world changer. You know, it's been now a year with COVID, and in a few weeks, it's going to be, for some of us, a whole celebration of a year under lockdown. 2020 was probably the craziest year of my life so far, and I'm sure of yours as well. We didn't only face COVID and all of its craziness, but in 2020, we lost Bryant, Chadwick Boseman. Sports got canceled and then brought back with people, but with crowd noise, political theories and political chaos. School got moved to Zoom for most kids. We witnessed the murder of George Floyd, which led us to once again seeing that our black brothers and sisters live and face a different reality than most of us do. 2020 was just a crazy year. And because of it, because of COVID and everything else that happened, there are great lessons for us to learn in regards to our future. So let's jump right into our COVID lessons. And these are not in order of importance. They're just important lessons that I've learned or have been reminded of because of what happened due to COVID and because of what happened in 2020. So lesson number 1, reevaluate my life and my doing. When a crisis like this happens, it can lead to dramatic changes in our circumstances. Really, all of us have been impacted in more ways than we know. Some of us are experiencing massive distortion when it comes to our jobs and our future. Some of this distortion must feel tremendously scary because it feels out of control. And it is, to an extent. Many jobs will not ever return to what they used to be. And the world ahead, even with vaccines, we still don't know what it will look like. But guess what? Even with all the uncertainty, you don't have to feel like you're lost at sea. Because the blessing in the crisis is that you have more control than you think. And the future is for those brave enough to dream and act today. For some of us, we will never get another opportunity like this to rethink our lives. This is a great time to rethink the direction that our lives are headed in. What is it that you want to do, and what would you like to accomplish in life? This is the perfect moment to set your life in the direction you've always wanted to, or to figure out what you actually want to do with your life. What do you want to spend your life doing? COVID, really, like I said, 2020 has confronted us with the brutal truth that life is short. Yes, life is beautiful and painful at times, and life is precious, and it is so short. And we are to make the most of our time in the here and now. Tomorrow is not guaranteed to any of us. And because of that, we must take this time to reevaluate our lives so that we can redirect them towards where we want to go. What you want for tomorrow will only happen as you get clarity of what it is that you want today. So do you know what you want? Can you state it clearly? And if you're saying to yourself, because you just joined us in this journey of growth, I don't know what I want. I I want to encourage you to take 15 minutes and ask yourself these 3 questions, or to go and check out my playlist of making the most of our lives. Here's the 3 questions. Number 1, when I think of the future, what would I like to see myself doing when I'm 45, when I'm 60, when I'm 75? What would I like to see myself doing until the day I die? Number 2, what brings me joy? Like, what do I love to do for people? What do I feel most alive in what I do? And number 3, what breaks my heart that it moves me to want to do something about it? The answer to these questions will start pointing us in the direction our life should head towards. Then once we have that direction, we gotta hone down on it. What is it really that I love about what I said? And once we do that, we can figure out how to do it and position ourselves to make a living out of what we love doing. This is a great time to reevaluate and set ourselves in the direction that we've always wanted to go. And don't just think about what you want for your career or as a career. If you do just that, you're actually shortcutting yourself. Think about the life you want in general. Think about your health, your relationships, your finances, and even your hobbies. Later on this episode, I'm going to mention 10 areas where you need to reevaluate what you're doing so that you could have the life you want and dream about. But to recap, the first lesson is to reevaluate my life and my doing. This is a great time to refocus my life in the best way I can to help people and to do what I'm passionate about. And this is a great time for you to reevaluate your life so that you can redirect or refocus your energy in what it is that matters to you. We might never get an opportunity like this again, so let's not waste it. Lesson number 2, invest in yourself. John Maxwell says, the only guarantee that tomorrow will be better is what you do today. The only guarantee that tomorrow will be better is what you do today. The point of reevaluating our lives is so that we can focus them on what we really want to do, on what matters to us. And in order for us to truly and consistently do great works, we must grow in what we do. The point is not to do one great work or a couple of great works. The point is to live a life of consistent good works that together become greater works, creating a greater impact. And for that to happen, we must continue to grow and invest in ourselves. And good works become greater works when we do what we do for the benefit of other people and not just for what we get from it. What you want for tomorrow will only happen as you invest in yourself today. And the first person you must lead, as well as the hardest to lead, is you. Even every great athlete we know and admire got to be great because they took time to invest in themselves. They spent time growing themselves. They spent countless hours rehearsing their movements so that it became natural to their bodies, so that they could respond without thinking, leading to their eventual success. They disciplined themselves to learn new habits, new moves, new tricks, so that they could continue to grow. Because however good you are today, tomorrow will always require a better you. And your capacity to expand and influence others will grow as you grow. If you stop growing, you start shrinking. And your influence starts dying. Let me say that again because that's really strong. If you stop growing, you start shrinking. And your influence starts dying. What's at stake when you don't invest in yourself is your future. Without your growth today, what you can accomplish in the future becomes smaller each day. Because the only guarantee that tomorrow will get better is what we do today. And what got you here today won't get you to where you need to go tomorrow. But when you invest in yourself intentionally, you position yourself to be on a path of growth. You position yourself for impact. and you're ready to respond and seize the moment when it shows up. But just as great players invest in themselves, they know that their investments is always for the good of the team. In order to lead others, you must be an example worth following. You must also put others in front of you. In the long run, the game is won together, not separate. And together, we can go much further than we can alone. Growing yourself, it's also about being a good team player. When you get better, the team gets better. And that will impact the level of your team and their growth. So never stop growing. Let's use this season to invest in ourselves. Your future and the team you are in will thank you. Part of what brings me joy in doing Lead with AC is knowing that what you're doing right now is investing in yourself. So thank you for doing what others are not willing to do for themselves and for other people. Now earlier, I mentioned that when you reevaluate your life, you shouldn't just focus on your career. You should focus on all the areas that make up your life. In his book, Your Best Year Ever, Michael Hyatt shows us 10 areas or domains of our lives that we should consider when we are reevaluating and investing in our lives. These 10 domains show us how multifaceted our lives are. And the reality is that in order for us to live joyfully and purposely, we must seek order, balance, and harmony in these 10 domains of our lives. Because when these domains are out of sorts, it will affect every other area of our lives. So here are the 10 domains Hyatt says we should reevaluate and invest in. And I quote Hyatt. Number 1, the spiritual. That means if you're someone like me who my faith with God is the most important thing, my faith about Jesus, then that is a domain that I need to reevaluate in my life. How am I spending time with God? So the spiritual, your connection with God. Number 2, intellectual. Your engagement with significant ideas. Like Live with AC. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't yet. Number 3, emotional. Your psychological health. Like how are you doing? Do you know how you feel and what it's doing to your body because of what you're dealing and feeling? So the emotional. Number 4, physical. Your bodily health. Number 5, marital. If you're married or you're dating, like your spouse or your significant other. Number 6, parental. If you have children or if you want children, like have you reevaluated what you want to do with your children and what you want as they grow up? Number 7, social. Your friends and associates. Number 8, vocational, which is your profession, your job, your career. Number 9, avocational, your hobbies and pastime. Like what do you like to do that refreshes you and brings you life? For example, I love KBBQ. That's Korean barbecue. I love it. If you want to treat me, oh man, I will thank you so much for that. And then number 10, financial. Your personal or family finances. If you didn't write these domains down, I want to invite you to go back later and write them down and start thinking about them and how you can invest in those areas. Or you could go to leadwithac.com and click on the episode's transcript, find this episode, and you'll find them there as well. Start thinking about what it is that you want in each area of your life. Doing so will lead you to a richer, better life. And in turn, it will lead others in your life to experience a richer, deeper you. I do have an action step that I'd like for you to do, and I'd love for you to put it in the comment section if you can, so that we can all encourage you and push you forward. What is the one thing that you can do right now to start investing in yourself? What is one thing that you could right now say, this is what I'm going to do? Is it picking up a book in an area that you're interested in, that you really want to grow in? Or is it committing to growing weekly by joining me here every week? And you're going to do that also by engaging, commenting, so that I keep coming back to you as well. Is it maybe to meet a friend online or for coffee or outside or whatever, given the COVID restrictions that you might be facing? A friend that will help you grow in your future that would challenge you to continue to grow. Maybe even a friend that can hold you accountable. What you want for tomorrow will only happen as you invest in yourself today. So pick something, schedule it, and let's get better together. Because when we get better, the world gets better. So lesson number 1 was reevaluate our lives and our doing. Lesson 2, invest in ourselves. And lesson 3, which is our last lesson for today, and one of the most important lessons that we need to learn in life in general, is surround yourself with the right people. Let me say that again. Lesson number 3, one of the most important lessons that you need to learn and I need to learn, and continue to remind myself of surround yourself with the right people. 2020 began for my family and I with a big change. We moved from San Diego, California to Frederick, Maryland. It was a move of faith and a scary move, but we knew it was the right move. Why was it the right move? Because I knew I was going to a place where the people believed in me and where they value my thoughts, opinions, and experience. Honestly, I spent a lot of times in positions and places that weren't good for me. I've spent a lot of times with people that weren't for me. People that didn't have my best interests at heart. And that last one should sting. And to me, it still does. And you need to ask yourself right now, if you're spending time with people that aren't for you, are you? Are you spending time with people that aren't for you? Are you in a position where you wish you could give more, but the leadership around you won't allow you to do so? Do you feel treated as if you were a little kid who can only contribute in small portions and whose ideas, thoughts, and experience are not valuable? You need to surround yourself with people that believe in you. Are you in a place where the people around you believe in you? You have no idea how powerful the power of placement is. Now, this is important to have in 2 ways. Number 1, people that you lead that believe in you. And number 2, people that lead you that believe in you. In my past, I had the people that I led that believed in me, but I didn't have the leadership above me that believed in me. And for most of my leadership journey, I spent it with leaders above me who didn't believe in me and who didn't care for what was best for me. I survived and I thrived in those places because I was resilient, not because they wanted the best for me. I gave results and their only interest was the bottom line. It was the numbers. They weren't interested in who I was or who I was becoming and who God shaped me to be. I had plans and visions and I would share it with them, but they didn't have the same vision for my life that I did. And they didn't desire for my life more than what helped them succeed. Worst of all is they didn't care for me as a person and they didn't care for my family. And I hope that in the season of COVID, you reevaluate your life, you invest in yourself, and above all, you surround yourself with the right people. Your life is too important to be spent doing somebody else's vision for you. I'm a person of faith, and I believe God made you with a unique purpose that only you can achieve in this world. And it's the leader's job to draw that out, to cultivate it, to water it, to make it grow, to empower you to lead, to give you opportunities so that you may spread your wings and fly. And when the time comes, we leaders need to be ready to celebrate you as you step into the future that awaits you, even if that means that we have to let you go. So make sure you surround yourself with the right people. Be with people that can see you going further than what you can see for yourself. Growing up, I hated that my mom would say to me all the time, "Show me your friends and I'll show you your future." I hated it because I just wanted to have fun. And sure, some of the people I was with weren't the best people, but they were fun. But my mom was right. And I love you, Mama. As I've gotten older, I've started seeing more and more how the influence of those around you affect where you end up. Your circle of friends and the circle of those that influence you will determine where you can end up and go. So choose wisely and surround yourself with the right people. Now, how do you know if you're in the right place? Here are some questions that can help you determine that. Number one, do you feel valued for who you are, not just for what you do? Do you feel valued for who you are, not just for what you do? We all got to produce, and initially, it's our work that opens doors for us. But ultimately, it is how we are valued as human beings, not human doings or human machines, that will determine how fulfilled we feel at a certain place and whether or not we should stay there. You are a human being, not a human doing or a human machine. So do you feel value for who you are, not just for what you do? Number two, do you feel like you're treated as an adult, or do they treat you like a child? Are you allowed to make your own decisions, and are you respected in the decisions you make? This doesn't mean that you aren't corrected when you fail or when things aren't going well, or that your supervisors don't have pushback or correction. It means that you are allowed to make decisions over what you oversee without having to constantly seek approval from those above you. Do you feel like you're trying to prove that you aren't a child at work? This doesn't mean that you aren't serious all the time, that you must be serious all the time and you don't make people laugh. It means that you are treated like an adult when it comes to decision making and to leader. Leaders lead. Are you allowed to lead? This one is even harder if you started leading in a place where you began at a young age. If your leaders are not for you, but only focus on the results, they will not see how you've grown while you're worthy of trust, and they will not treat you as a mature individual that you've grown to be. Number three, what words are used to describe you? Or what are you told when you meet with individuals? Let me give you an example of what I mean. There was a season of my life where I worked full-time and pursued 2 degrees. I pursued a bachelor and then a master's degree. 2 times at 2 different places by 2 different leaders of the same organization, I was told certain things that should have given me plenty of warning that they didn't believe in me. The first one was when I was about to graduate from my BA and I was asked why I was pursuing a master's. The leader above my supervisors wanted to know why I was seeking to get a master's degree. So instead of seeing my education as a benefit for the organization, they saw it as an impediment. They couldn't see that if I got better, the organization got better. And worst of all, they should have seen that me pursuing a master's was good for my family. It was good for me. A master's degree now has opened doors for me. It's given me opportunities to be seen where before I would have been looked over. So the first time was when they asked me why I was pursuing higher education. The second time was when one of the leaders mentioned that they felt intimidated that I was pursuing a master's degree. He actually said that some people were intimidated with how smart I was. That was a clear indication that I was not valued as an individual. A clear indication that I was in the wrong place. My skills and natural abilities weren't gifts for them and benefits for the organization. They were things to be feared. So stop and see how you're described. Start to listen to the words that people are saying about you. What words do they use to describe you? And ask yourself when in a meeting with them, what do they ask themselves about me? Do they really have my best interest at heart? There's some more questions that I can add here to help you decipher if you're in the right place, but for interest of time, I won't post them. If you go to my blog and click on this episode transcript, you'll find 3 more questions there. Listen, you will become like those you surround yourself with. So watch who you surround yourself with. It will determine your future. And it will either save you or sink you. Ask yourself, are you surrounded with the right individuals? If not, What can you do to surround yourself with people that believe in you and see you going further than you can in this moment see for yourself? COVID has some really truly valuable lessons to teach us. Next week, we'll look at some more lessons COVID has taught me. Drop me a comment in the comment section about the lessons you've learned, because I want to shoot a video with your thoughts in them as well. For now, let's make the most of today, because today is all we got. Until next time, AC out.